The price is right and why correct pricing matters in today's market. So that is what we're talking about today. That is the topic of our podcast. Pricing. Pricing is one of the most important things when it comes to selling a home, when it comes to buying a home, and correct pricing is what allows the correct buyer to come view the home and offer on the home. If the home's not correctly priced, it's going to be in front of the wrong audience, and therefore it's probably not going to sell for a while. So that's what we're talking about today. This podcast episode, like all other podcast episodes, is not legal advice. It's not real estate advice. Well, it is real estate advice, but it's my knowledge. But it's not for people that are already listed. So this is not intended to solicit anyone who's under any type of representation agreement with a brokerage to buy or sell a home. Okay? Gotcha. Perfect. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the power of pricing and what is correct pricing. Correct pricing is your home aligned with market value? So to understand market value, we need to understand market trends. We need to understand demand. We need to understand inventory levels of your neighborhood, but also property types similar to yours in your neighborhood, in your area. And this is how we would create the correct pricing. This is how we would understand what the correct price is. The market is sensitive, right, to overpricing or underpricing. So if the home is underpriced, the market is sensitive to that. People know, well, this home's listed for $500,000. No way it's worth $500,000. Of course they want more money because this home's worth $950,000. People know that. Also, people are sensitive to houses being overpriced. If in the current market, the home is only worth $950,000 and you list it for $1.3 million because 3 years ago, that's what the house was worth, well, guess what? The market is sensitive to that. We are going to know sound buyers, smart buyers, savvy buyers. They're going to know, well, this home is not worth 1.3. It's worth no more than 950. So therefore, nobody's going to be coming to take a look at your home. So correct pricing matters from that perspective. Also, building off of that, the right price attracts more buyers. You're going to get more showings and it's going to generate more interest. So for example, we just had a client who was interested in a property in Ajax. It was a townhouse, but an end unit townhouse. So kind of like a semi that was recently listed. And it was listed a little bit below market, nothing out of the ballpark, just a little bit below market, about $50,000 below market, and also had an offer date. And I think this was smart of the listing agent to have an offer date, put it slightly under the market value. And because even if they listed it at market value, there would be interest in this property because it's a great property for first-time home buyers. And they attracted a lot of showings. They attracted a lot of interest. And at the end of the day, they had 11 offers. Our client didn't end up winning in this multiple offer situation, but they had 11 offers in December 2023. So that is an example of correct pricing and how it's going to attract buyers and have interest. At the end of the day, the house ended up actually selling for a little bit more than what market value is because somebody wanted it. So if they had just listed at market value, they would have got a lot of interest, but they would have probably been negotiating down. So this ended up working out for them. So that is a great example of correct pricing. But I want to talk about overpricing because we're seeing a lot of that recently. And overpricing is just when you are asking for more than what the current market can bear for your property. This creates what I call stale listings. It's a stale listing. That means it's been on the market for a while. It's been relisted multiple times. You've reduced the price multiple times, and therefore buyers lose interest in the property. When the same home has been listed since May, so recently another property that we were looking at had been listed multiple times since May, and the price was reduced. Why? Because they are still not in line with the current market value, and they started off really high, right? So having the wrong expectations. These are the consequences. Property's going to sit on the market. You're not willing to negotiate with them. Buyers are not going to come. And now, for example, the property that's been on the market since May, overpriced. Let's say I have another client who's interested in the same type of property. Well, guess what? When we go through it together, I'm going to say, yeah, I had a recent interaction with this. I looked at the comps or the comparable properties, and this property is worth this X amount, but really they want this amount, and are you willing to overpay for this property? And the client's most of the time going to say, no, Harpreet, we don't even want to see it. Let's go on to the next one, right? So these are the consequences of overpaying. And now, kind of building off of that, once we now understand how important pricing is, let's talk about the strategy of holding back offers. So holding back offers is this concept of, hey, we are not going to... Actually, there's a few different parts to this. So let's talk about just holding back offers. Is in the generalist term is we're not going to accept an offer or review offers until a specific date. So usually you'll hold back offers for like about a week or 5 days, depending on when you list it. And it's really popular in a seller's market or a really hot market. Right now, for the most part, it is not a seller's market. It kind of balanced a little bit seller's market, but it's not a hot market. So for most properties, holding back offers is the incorrect strategy in 2023. And that's why it doesn't work for the most part. Like I gave you an example of where it worked just last night, but for the most part, it doesn't work because demand is lower. So especially for homes that are like over $1 million, maybe even like I've seen it on like a $2-3 million home. It's not going to work in today's market, right? There's less demand for those properties, and in some neighborhoods, there's actually a lot of supply where there's a lot of offerings. So therefore, it doesn't really support the strategy. And this is the thought process that we go through when we're trying to determine the correct pricing strategy for your home. So keeping that in mind, holding back offers can work, but it really depends on the market and the type of home. And holding back offers, it can also cause sellers to miss out on early interest and can lead to delays. So why is this? Let's say today we list your home and we're not going to review offers or take offers for another week. Well, if somebody's really interested and they want to make an offer on your home and you're not willing to take offers today, and there's another home on the market that actually, they might not even be competing against anyone, they may actually go offer on that home and end up buying that home, and they might have been willing to pay a lot more for your home. So that is one downfall of holding back offers. And some other pitfalls of waiting for this bidding war, and in a market like this, like I've seen it so many times in the last couple months, is there's an offer date, the offer date comes and goes, and the house doesn't sell. And so that is one pitfall of this. You're just waiting for multiple offers, and sometimes you're not going to get a lot of interest. Or let's say you even get 5 offers. All 5 offers might be really low. So that's something that's happening as well, I'm seeing, whereas a lot of offers come in, maybe at market value, because as a professional, I understand market value. I'm educating my clients on it. But the offers you get, none of them align with what the seller is kind of expecting. And therefore, you get offers, but the house doesn't sell. Then it continues to sit on the market. So buyers are super educated in 2024. They're very cautious. They're hesitant in a market where interest rates are kind of in limbo, right? So the public has access to a lot of information. They are educated. And when they work with someone like me, they're going to be even more educated. Therefore, they're not going to overpay for your property when it doesn't make sense to overpay for it. So, and there's many, many times that, we see that happen. And lastly, let's kind of start to bring this together and talk about the correct pricing strategy and how having a proper pricing strategy can ensure that your home sells for market value, and at the end of the day, you get what you're looking for. And how do we determine the market value? So for residential properties, we do what's called a CMA, a Comparative Market Analysis. And this is the basis of determining market value. You can't just look at a house and say, well, oh yeah, it's worth this much. Actually, when you get really good and you understand the comps, the other properties that have sold, you can do that. So working with an experienced salesperson, most of the time we can get in the ballpark of what the home is worth, but to get accurate market value, we need to conduct an actual comparative market analysis. And this is where we figure out market value. And once you know the market value of your property, now we can figure out the pricing strategy depending on the type of market and neighborhood you're in. Should you hold back offers? Should you not hold back offers? If this is market value, what should we list at? Should we list at market value? Should we list slightly above market value, under market value? And at the end of the day, what are your goals? And another thing to consider with market value and pricing strategy is how flexible are you, your flexibility, because the price is only one part of the entire agreement. So how flexible are you on price, but how flexible are you on things like conditions you're looking for? Are you willing to accept an offer with a 5-day condition, a 7-day condition? Are you willing to accept a certain closing date? Are you open to closing dates? And are you open to revising the market price or the ask price if in the first week you don't get showings? If there's not a lot of interest, are you willing to be flexible on that? And at the end of the day, right now, what I'm noticing is if you have a property, does not apply to condos in downtown Toronto. That could be a different topic. Condos in downtown Toronto is a whole different market right now. But for the most part, for in the GTA, if you price your home at or slightly below market value, you're gonna end up kind of doing really well. If you have unrealistic expectations right now and you're listing your home way out of market value for 2024 and December 2024, your home is going to continue to sit on the market and become a stale listing. So it's super, super important that you understand market value, you understand the trends, you understand the market before you decide on a correct market strategy. So if you're listening to this and you have questions, you're not sure, you want to talk this out more, you can always reach out to me, Harpreet at HSR.team. Head over to my website. You can book a call, or you might find a link for that in the description. And at the end of the day, I share a lot of small content on Instagram. So feel free to follow me on Instagram and ask questions. At the end of the day, the more informed you are, the better decisions you can make. And we have our HSR method as a downloadable PDF. It's a free guide for you to help make the buying and selling process easy and stress-free. So you can head over to hsr.team and download our free guide, or on Instagram, or look for the links here, depending on where you're watching this. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for watching. And these podcast episodes are short and informative, so send me some messages with some topics that you'd like to see me discuss. And if you're watching this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you hit follow, leave a comment, thumbs up. All that really, really does help. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, please follow, and leave a comment. By the end of the day, if you made it this far, as always, go on Instagram, find me at soldbyharp, and send me a message and just let me know what you thought. Until next time, I'll see you then. My name is Harpreet.